What's up, guys? Army-Firedawg is back again, and today I finally, and regrettably, have the review video for you of the Beyerdynamic, one of their newest products, the Amiron Home. This is a product that goes for about $600, and it's pretty synonymous no matter where you shop. And it is a product I have really grown to love. So this was actually requested of me, of people from the meet, because they found out I was bringing in the T1, courtesy of the Beyerdynamic. And again, very big thank you to Beyerdynamic for sending me some products, some very prestigious products to give to the meet. They all went over very well, but of all those, I'm actually surprised too that the Amiron Home was by far the most popular. And it's probably because that this has been going around on the forums of being the T1 Junior. A lot of the technology that makes the T1 such a great and prestigious headphone has been actually trickled down into this little beauty. And from my one-ish weeks with them, I have to say I completely agree. But of course, as always, I like to start with the construction of which and then work my way down. So starting with the construction. The construction is absolutely gorgeous and top-notch. It's actually handmade in Germany, and it's very premiumly made. Even for a $600 headphone, this is very, very nice. It's all aluminum with the only plastic I could really see being right here. And then the actual ear cups themselves. I believe these are either high quality plastic or it is aluminum. I really can't tell. And honestly, with how good plastics are getting, I can hardly tell anymore. So the entire headband is aluminum, and the top of which and the pads are both made out of a very nice cloth. I don't know if it's a kind of a suede material. I'm not completely sure. I just know it is amazingly comfortable, which I will touch on in the next section. But on here, you actually do have Beyerdynamic's name and logo stitched right into the top, as well as right here on the cup. That's actually a really cool touch. I like seeing that. But going back on track, the headband itself here is all aluminum inside the cloth, and that continues on down through the arms right here. You actually have dotted a groove so you can very easily match up both sides, and you have a ton of adjustments. So this is on the smallest setting. Fairly small head, all the way up to the largest setting, and that is a monstrous head. Moving on down, you have the two 2.5 millimeter input jacks for the detachable cable. I love seeing that. That was one of my biggest complaints with the Generation 1 models, both the T5P and T1 first gens, is they did not have detachable cables. Also, if you remember from my very first video I ever made of the Beyerdynamic T70Ps, also non-detachable cable. But thankfully, the Generation 2 and pretty much all of the Beyerdynamic products that I've seen, their newer models, have all been detachable, and I like seeing that, especially in the premium headphone category, because these cables are not cheap. And speaking of cable, the cable itself is just a standard cable. There's nothing really too fancy about it. The headphone end of it is terminated with two 2.5 millimeter jacks, and then the business end of it is terminated in a 3.5 millimeter jack that you can screw on a 1/4 inch jack if you wanted to put this in an amplifier. Now, this, though it is 250 ohm headphone, it actually sounds fairly good from a mobile headphone or mobile platform, at least for my LG V20 and my HP Pavilion laptop. I was able to power it just fine, get pretty respectable detail retrieval, but when I plug it into, like say, the iFi iCam Pro, my HDVD 800, Beyerdynamics A2, which they were kind enough to send me, or this Galapagos Ragnarok right behind me, yes, it's going to scale well, and you'll notice an improvement of detail retrieval, and just especially on the bass control, which I'll touch on in a moment. But my overall thoughts on the construction is that Beyerdynamic did a wonderful job. I truly think that this is what headphones can still be. This is $600, and that is a lot of money. But anymore, it seems like headphone companies don't care about the craftsmanship of their products, they just care about the bottom line. But what I've really personally loved about Beyerdynamic is, regardless of the trends, they have always maintained top build quality of all of their products, regardless if they're relatively inexpensive IEMs or actually inexpensive IEMs from about $20, all the way up to their flagship T1s. They're all aluminum with respect to their price, and just very good craftsmanship. And Beyerdynamic is also one of the oldest audio companies around, and they have a very high standard that I wish more companies would adopt. But anywho, so moving down to the comfort. The comfort, and this is going to be a very quick section, is I have zero complaints with the comfort. The very moment I put this on my head, it's just incredible. It has like the exact perfect amount of clamping force. It doesn't move anywhere. No matter where position the head is in, it just stays firm, but it doesn't squeeze too tight. It doesn't squeeze too little. It's Goldilocks. It's so nice. The pads, regardless of being suede, they have great breathability. My ears, regardless of how many hours I've put into these headphones, they have never once been too hot for my ears to handle, or that I've became any remotely uncomfortable. Same with the headband. It's not messed with my hair. That kind of getting kind of long, but it hasn't like pushed it back, and it hasn't made it uncomfortable. This entire I have zero complaints, but nothing but positives about the level of comfort Beyerdynamic has crafted into their Amiron Home. So wonderful job. So now moving on to the sound, which was probably the more important part. So as I mentioned earlier, this has become known as the T1 Junior. And for the most part, I completely agree with that. A lot of the technology and what makes the T1 such a formidable headphone has trickled down into the Amiron Home. The level of control, regardless if it's the bass, the treble extensions, the realistic in the body that's present in the mids that is so wonderful in the T1 is just as good as here. Now, this has a notably bigger warmth than the neutral T1s do, which is, I actually really enjoy. Yes, I think the T1s did, if I had to only choose one pair, the T1s would probably win because of their detail retrieval and just the naturalness of the audio that's played. But with these, and this I guess is a very personal level, I truly enjoyed these headphones. It was just such a musical experience. The mids and the upper bass line had a nice little forwardness to it, which is, well, as you all will probably know, I really enjoy that. It had such body and added such realism to the mids. And I linked a couple videos in my written review, which is linked in the description. And use them for any headphones. Them songs I chose, I just wondrously shown what example I'm trying to make. But getting back on track, so the soundstage on this one, and I was incorrect in my unboxing video by saying this is a closed back headphone. According to Beyerdynamic, this is an open back. And I disagree with that. I would say at most it is a semi-open, because yes, the grill is open, and you can hear what's being played outside. But the way the grill is and just the overall soundstage, it doesn't sound anywhere near like an open back headphone. It has a very intimate soundstage. But being a semi-open, it makes more sense to the level of realism I'm experiencing. And I kind of described this more in my written review, but I just can't brag enough about how good these headphones are. Like, for those of you who are wanting a musical headphone that takes a journey away from, oh, I must show all the detail in the world. You have to show me this, and this, versus just an experience you get. And that's what the Amiron Home is. It's an experience, a very enjoyable experience. Yes, you still get wonderful detail retrieval, well above its price point. But this is a headphone that you've really got to listen to. I know I'm supposed to be a reviewer and give opinions and kind of give you a good idea of what to get, but this is a headphone I cannot stress enough that you've got to experience this. That's kind of funny, but the picture on the front of the Amiron Home box of the gentleman just leaned back and enjoying his music, that is spot on with what the Amiron Home, at least in my experience, did to both me and quite a bit of the other listeners who listened to it at the CanFest 6 meet. But now let me digress into the individual aspects of the sound, so maybe I can describe it a little bit better. So starting with the treble. The highs on the Amiron Home they have great extension. It's very consistent throughout, as far as always being able to hear all the treble. Nothing really sounds too recessed. And when a song demands it, it will go high. Like, the treble in these will absolutely ring your ears if it's in a song. Also, there are certain songs or certain instruments that comes through kind of sharp on the Amiron Home. An example of this, and I do remember, is a piece called A Moonfilled Sky. I can't figure out who the author was. I haven't found that out yet. But it's a beautiful, beautifully emotional piece. And honestly, it's quite sad. But in that, listening through the ears, there's some sharp pieces that kind of deter away, that you kind of get out of the mood of just your enjoyment and the imaging what you're listening to, because of the sharp peaks that are present. So with that, other than that, the treble is actually really good, but it can need to be a little bit better tamed. Now, moving on to the mids. The mids are just wonderful in the Amiron Home. Like I said, they're nicely forward. They have a nice bit of warmth to them, and that's also due to the actual hump, if you look on the frequency graph, of the mids and the upper bass line. It's a little bit more forward. And it's, as soon as you put these on her head, you're like, oh, okay, those mids are a bit more forward and more pronounced, regardless if it's male or female. I have zero complaints about the mids on these. They are wonderful. They're just truly a musical and full-bodied mids experience. But actually, very comparable to a more intimately sounding HD 650. That's actually a good comparison. I didn't even think of in my written review, but it just hit me in your head. That's actually a good comparison right there. So the bass on the Amiron Homes are, again, a bit more forward and more pronounced, and very controlled and tight when properly powered. Like, going from a mobile phone to like a full desktop setup, you're going to notice a very notable increase in the bass performance. And it gets tighter and it gets more controlled, and the attack and decay just gets more, gets slower or quicker, whichever way you want to look at it. And it's punchy. Like, a good song is Animals by Martin Garrix, I think it is. It's off the top of my head. But it's a fun song to listen to, and you actually get to enjoy the bass. Now, it is not bass heavy. It is not. But the bass that's present here makes the entire musical piece very full. Like, you don't, at least when I was listening to it during all my time, no matter what genre of music, everything just sounded so full. Like, it was just, nothing left me longing for, oh, I wish I had more of this or more of that. It's just a very satisfying headphone. So, to conclude, this is like a German Shepherd of headphones. They don't excel in anything. Nothing. They don't excel in anything. However, they're like second place in pretty much everything. There's a very consistent headphone regardless of what genre you're listening to. Whether it be hard rock, bluegrass, gospel, heavy metal. It all just sounds so enjoyable. There's plenty of detail retrieval, so every piece of the ensemble has its own location in the soundstage. You can actually close your eyes and actually visually see it. I am truly flabbergasted about how good of a headphone the Amiron Home is for only $600. And I don't say this that often, but it is more than worth that asking price. Very rarely do I get a performance that I have been this impressed by on a sub-$1,000 headphone. And that's about how I can sum up the Amiron Homes. These are a truly amazing headphone. And I'm really going to miss to see them go. But this is a truly amazing headphone, and I really tried to find more negatives, or some negatives, other than just the treble spikes. But I couldn't come up with any. I guess the cable could be better crafted, but it's detachable, so you can upgrade your own cable. And it's not a proprietary, it's just 2.5 millimeter. You can find those cables anywhere. But guys, that is actually it for my review of the Beyerdynamic Amiron Home. It is as you all know, a very impressive headphone, and I just can't speak highly enough of it. But if you guys have any questions, or if there's anything I may have missed that you would like me to clarify more, please hit me up in the comments down below. I'll absolutely reply to each and every one of you, and I will do my best to get you the answers that you asked. I can't guarantee I'll have them all, but I will certainly try my best. But anyway, guys, my name is Army-Firedawg. It has truly, truly been a pleasure, but most importantly, and please I ask my friends, stay safe.